There is a dangerous silence in many hearts that looks like humility, but is actually unbelief. It sounds like prayer, but it carries the tone of doubt. It bows low yet refuses to stand in what God has already finished. The cross did not leave anything unresolved. It did not leave a portion of your acceptance undone. It did not leave a gap for your effort to complete. God is not negotiating your blessing. He is not calculating your failures before responding. He is not measuring your consistency to decide His goodness. He has already decided, and His decision was made at the cross. Jesus did not partially satisfy divine justice. He completely satisfied it. He did not temporarily deal with sin. He removed its power to separate you from God. This is where many stumble. Because the mind naturally leans toward effort. It wants to contribute. It wants to participate in earning what feels too great to receive freely. But grace confronts that instinct. Grace declares that the work is finished. Grace refuses to share the spotlight with human effort. And this creates tension in the human heart because it means letting go of control. It means trusting completely in what has already been done. There are moments when life shakes you, when loss comes unexpectedly, when doors close without warning, when provision seems uncertain. And in those moments, the voice of fear becomes loud. It urges you to panic, to plead, to convince God to act. But beneath that reaction lies a deeper belief, a belief that something still needs to be done to unlock heaven's response. Yet the truth stands firm. God is more willing to bless than you are to receive, not because of your condition, but because of Christ's completion. When you grumble and lack, when you beg as though God is distant, when you cry as though heaven is undecided, you are not just expressing emotion, you are expressing theology. And that theology matters, because it shapes how you approach God. If you believe the work is incomplete, you will live in constant striving. You will measure every prayer with uncertainty. You will approach God with hesitation. But if you believe the work is finished, everything changes. You begin to stand instead of collapse. You begin to speak instead of beg. You begin to rest instead of strive. This is not denial of reality. This is alignment with truth greater than circumstances. The Old Covenant trained people to be sin-conscious. Every sacrifice reminded them of failure. Every offering pointed to their inability to fully cleanse themselves. It was a system that exposed weakness, a system that highlighted distance. But the New Covenant introduced something radical, a once-for-all sacrifice, a complete redemption, an unchanging righteousness. No more repeated offerings, no more temporary covering, no more cycle of trying and failing. Jesus did not enter the system to improve it. He came to fulfill and replace it. And yet many still live as though nothing changed. They carry old covenant thinking into a finished covenant reality. They confess sins trying to be forgiven. Instead of confessing from the place of forgiveness, they strive to become righteous. Instead of living from righteousness already given, they fear losing what God has already secured. This creates a cycle of instability, a life where peace comes and goes, a relationship with God that feels uncertain. But this is not the life Christ secured. Your forgiveness is not fragile. It does not expire with your mistakes. It does not fluctuate with your emotions. It is anchored in the blood of Jesus. And that blood does not lose its power. Consider the weight of that truth. If forgiveness depended on your confession, you would need perfect memory, perfect awareness, perfect honesty at all times. But no human possesses that, so if that were the system, no one would ever stand fully forgiven. But God did not design such a system. He based your forgiveness on something unchanging, the finished work of His Son. This removes the pressure from your performance and places your confidence in His perfection. Now this does not eliminate confession, it transforms it. You no longer confess to earn forgiveness. You confess because you are in relationship. You speak openly because you are already accepted. You are honest because there is no fear of rejection. This kind of relationship produces growth, not through pressure, but through security, because transformation thrives in an environment of acceptance. Now return to the image of the rock, a powerful picture given to reveal Christ, a source of life in the wilderness, a provider in a place of lack. The rock was struck once, and water flowed. That act was sufficient. It did not need repetition later. The instruction changed: speak to the rock. This shift was not small, it carried deep meaning. The striking represented sacrifice. The speaking represented relationship, and many still live striking. Even though the sacrifice has already been made, they strike with doubt, they strike with fear, they strike with endless pleading, they strike when they say, "Forgive me," again as though forgiveness expired. They strike when they beg for acceptance, as though it was withdrawn. They strike when they promise to do better in order to qualify for grace. But the instruction remains: speak. Speak from the place of completion. Speak with the confidence of one who knows the work is done. This is not arrogance. This is agreement. Agreement with heaven releases rest in the soul. Agreement with truth silences accusation. Agreement with grace dismantles fear. When you face lack, you acknowledge provision already secured. When you face failure, you stand in righteousness already given. When you face uncertainty, you rest in a God who has already decided your favor through Christ. This is the language of faith. Faith does not create truth. Faith responds to truth. It aligns with what God has already declared. And this alignment releases peace. A peace not dependent on circumstances. A peace rooted in completion. Let this settle deeply. God is not revisiting the cross every time you fail. He is not reconsidering your acceptance every time you fall short. The decision has been made, the work has been finished, and heaven is not waiting for your perfection. Heaven is waiting for your agreement. There is a rest that comes when striving ends, a strength that rises when self-effort falls, a clarity that appears when truth replaces assumption. You are not called to maintain what Christ has already secured. You are called to believe it. You are not called to protect your righteousness. You are called to receive it. You are not called to complete the work. You are called to live from the finished work. This is where many hesitate, because living by grace feels too simple. But simplicity does not mean weakness. It means purity of truth. The more you add to the finished work, the more you dilute its power in your life. But the more you rest in it, the more it transforms you from within. Because true change is not produced by pressure. It is produced by revelation. Revelation of who Christ is. Revelation of what He has done. Revelation of who you are in Him. And when that revelation becomes clear, behavior begins to align naturally, not out of fear, but out of identity. Not out of pressure, but out of understanding. So, instead of asking how to earn more from God, begin to ask how to see more clearly what He has already given. Instead of focusing on your inconsistencies, fix your attention on His consistency. Instead of measuring your worth by your performance, anchor your identity in His finished work. Because everything flows from that place, your confidence flows from it. Your peace flows from it, your boldness flows from it, and even your obedience flows from it, not as a requirement to be accepted, but as a response to already being accepted. So, when pressure rises again, when fear whispers again, when failure tries to define you again, return to this truth: the work is finished. Do not move from that foundation. Do not negotiate with doubt. Do not rebuild what grace has already removed. Stand firm, speak clearly, live boldly, and let this final truth settle deeply within you. You are not waiting for God to bless you. You are learning to receive what He has already released. You are not trying to reach acceptance. You are awakening to the fact that you are already accepted. You are not striving to become righteous. You are living from righteousness already given. So the question that remains is not about God's willingness. It is about your agreement. Will you continue to approach Him as though something is missing? Or will you stand before Him knowing that nothing is lacking? Will you keep striking the rock with doubt and fear? Or will you speak to the rock with confidence and faith? Because everything changes at the point of agreement, and the life you step into next will be shaped by the truth you choose to believe.